The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Orting Valley, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34137. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start at the front bumper. Just under the front bumper, you'll find passenger side and driver side perimeter lighting. Moving up onto the face of the bumper on the passenger side, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker system. Currently have covers on them. These are your air horns. They're located on the right and left side of the front bumper. You also have 2 front tow hooks located in the front, just on the opposite side of the E40 symbol. All the way to the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren mounted on the bumper face. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find an 1.5-inch swivel discharge. Located directly in the center, you'll find a tubbed storage location for your front bumper load. Moving to the outer edge of the body, this is the cab area where you'll find your front marker light turn indicator. Just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight cluster housing low and high beam headlights. Up from that location, you'll find a turn indicator marker light, and on the inside of that, you'll find an emergency warning light. There are 3 windshield wipers across your seamless one-piece windshield. On the outer edges, you'll find your mirrors housing a convex and flat mirror. Moving to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance running lights. And moving up further from that, you'll find your forward-facing brow floodlight. And then moving all the way up onto the top of the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside that light bar is where you'll find in the very center your Opticom system. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those items in a close-up. First, let's start with the front bumper. At the very bottom section here, you can see the perimeter lighting. Located in the center, you'll find the apparatus designator E40. Moving now to the swivel discharge, front discharge, water and foam capable, 1.5 inch. Let's move to the side where we'll find a passenger side bumper extension emergency warning light. Moving up to the headlight structure, headlights, turn indicator, and emergency warning light. Quick view of the grille itself. As we look just above the Pierce logo, we'll find your department name. And then as we look directly down, you'll find in the bumper extension that tubbed storage location here. In the very bottom of that tubbed area is where you'll find the dry deck material. Let's go ahead and move now to the cab section here in the very front. This is the driver's side bumper extension. You'll find a side-facing emergency light. Moving up onto the door of the apparatus, you'll find your department logo. Just slightly to the rear of this location is where you'll find your auto charge system and also your shoreline inlet. This plug does happen to be an auto eject plug. Moving now up to the mirrors, you'll find your flat portion on the top and the convex portion on the lower area. Now to the rear section, you'll find your grab handles for the cab. All have LED lighting behind, a keyed entry and latch for the doors to gain access inside. As we look inside the cab, you'll find these warning labels located on each side at all points of entry for firefighter safety. Moving to the rear section now, you'll find a smaller compartment down in the lower corner on the passenger and driver side. Once again, a unit identifier number of E40 located on the door. Let's go from this location to the midship location. We'll identify some of the things within the pump panel area. First, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find your 2 crosslays. We'll start at the very top section here where the arrow is indicating. Let's first start with a few placards on your apparatus. Starting in the very top section, you'll find your foam system placards. These are going to be instructions and also specifications. You can see here, these are the foam system instructions. And then just beneath those are going to be your specifications. This is a Husky 3 foam system, and the percentage of solution is just down at the lower section in that same placard. As we move now to the master gauges, first there are 2 master gauges. On the left-hand side, you'll have your pump intake. On the right-hand side, you'll find your pump discharge. Located between the 2 of those gauges, in the very bottom section, you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Let's move downward to the next module. We'll identify a few items here. First, starting with a warning label, entanglement hazard. Because of those hoses coming from a loft, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we move down to your Husky Foam System 3, you can see that there is a system on and off button, your foam percentage by increasing or decreasing with the gray buttons, and then also the yellow button is the prime. There are some operating instructions here and also system status lights down in the lower right-hand corner. Moving just to the right in the green area is where you're going to find your Foam A tank level indicator. As we move from this location, we'll move up to the top. It's got your job number 34137. On the left-hand side, you'll find your GPM. On the right-hand side, you'll find your PSI. And on the far right-hand side, you'll find your RPMs associated with the test pressure. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll find an audible speaker. The outer edge of that speaker does allow you to dampen the sound. That's where you'll get any audible indications. You do have a set of panel lights, air horn, driver side lights, and passenger side lights. You also have recirculating line and engine cooler. These are both twist, not pull. Let's move now just to the right where you'll find your fire pump primer. That's going to be on the left-hand side. We do have some priming instructions here for best practices, at least 1,000 RPMs while priming. Let's move further to the right. We'll go over your pump boss. This is your pressure throttle governor. In the upper left-hand corner, if illuminating, it would be a check engine light that would be yellow. You do have a digital readout for the RPM. And to the right-hand side, if illuminated, you would find a red stop engine light. Moving down on the pump boss, you'll find a menu button, which allows you to scroll through the various menu functions of this module. Across the center, you'll find diagnostic engine information. In the upper corner, you'll find a red silence button. This will allow you to silence any audible alarms that may be sounding. As we move down to the left, you'll find your pressure and RPM. This is either two modes you have, pressure or throttle mode. Located in the center, you'll find a digital readout. All the way to the very far right should be illuminating in green color. That is your throttle ready. And then just beneath that, if you choose to give any type of presets, that's the green button, allowing you to set presets for your pressure or RPMs. Down at the very bottom, you'll find your throttle, right to increase, left to decrease, push in the center for idle. Let's take a look at some more hazard warnings here. This is a pressure hazard warning. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. You'll also find we've got a variety of different gauges here. They're all color-coded and also labeled. These happen to be your deluge discharge. Number 2 and number 3 previously was number 1. As we move further to the right, you'll find the number 2 crosslay and also passenger rear discharge. Moving all the way to the right, you'll find you do have an electronic valve. It is the large diameter passenger side. You do have tank fill and recirculating line. At the very top, you'll also find a green indicator that is okay to pump. To the right-hand side, this is going to be your master stream device controls. And you also have a water tank level indicator. That's the blue module, and just beneath it, you'll find your pump drain. As we move down to the lower left-hand corner, difficult to read, but this is a warning label regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after they received proper training. To the right, you have your Watrous placard indicating the type of pump and the GPM of your pump. This is going to be your master intake. Down at the very bottom, under that master intake, you'll find a warning label here regarding do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. Back to your main pump drain at the very top and also your manual pump shift. Moving down to the left, this is going to be your driver's side auxiliary inlet. It is a 2.5-inch female inlet. You'll find also nestled in that area all of your discharge drains. They're clearly color-coded and also labeled. As we move to the right, we talked about this earlier. This is your placard from Watrous indicating that you have a 1,500 gallon pump. It also provides the model of pump and transmission. Let's move to the lower right-hand corner of the pump panel where you'll find this pan door. Located behind it is the foam fill operations. The yellow handle has instructions on the back of the door, indicating for foam fill operations, the horizontal position is for operation, and to move that to a vertical position for foam fill operations. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency light, brake, turn, and reverse light. Moving up to the top, you'll find 2 emergency lights on the passenger and driver side. Located in between, you'll find a rear-facing scene light. Let's move just down to the lower section here where we'll find a 2.5-inch rear discharge.
Just inside of that location, you'll find your backboard storage location and then also your hose load storage location. There are a total of 4 dividers. Located at the top, you'll find your diamond plated hose bed cover. Let's talk a little bit about some warning labels now. First, I'd like to point out a pressure hazard warning label and also an entanglement hazard warning label. You do have a direct tank fill in this location also. It's a 2.5 inch on the left-hand side along with a fold down step. Let's move toward the center of the apparatus in this same vicinity, where we'll start with your backup camera located between the 2 grab handles. Let's move downward from this location. Below the Pierce logo is where you'll find your roll-up door. The very bottom section does have a pull-out tray. The release mechanism is on the right. Let's move around to the passenger side of the vehicle on your roll-up doors. First showing it in the closed position, now in the open position. You have 2 SCBA brackets located in the top section. Also in the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a 12-volt access block. Let's move back outside of this compartment and go to the rear section of the rear axle, where you'll find 3 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps. Located directly over the wheel, you'll find a rear side-facing emergency warning light. Let's move just up from this location to the middle section where we have a roll-up door in this area. We'll go inside that compartment next, where we do have a tool board located. The D handle allows you to open it. Once it's in the open position, it will lock into a fully open position. The release mechanism is on the hinge side on the inside of the door. Moving to the forward section of the axle, you'll find 3 SCBA bottle storage locations. Just beneath this, you'll find a side-facing clearance light and also this warning label, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperature. Be careful where you park your vehicle. Let's move from this location up to the next compartment in the forward position. You'll find adjustable shelf, LED lighting, and ventilation. There are also 2 outlets in the very top section. One shoreline outlet, 20 amp. When plugged into shore power, this outlet will be activated. And then the other, a shoreline outlet. Once again, when plugged into shore power, this will be activated. As we move now to the midsection of the pump, we'll go over a few of those items. Let's go ahead and start at the very top section. These are the 2 cross lays located here. As we move down from this position, you'll find a pan door which gains access to the hydraulic fill location for your hydraulic ladder rack. Let's move outside of the compartment here. We'll talk about some of the controls. First, the gray module on your left-hand side is your cab lift. There's also an indication with instructions and also a cab not locked indicator. To the right, you'll find your powered equipment rack. There's also instructions and also a danger warning label. On the side, you do have an electronic intake valve here. It's located on the left. It's the TFT. And to the right was your large diameter passenger side discharge. These are all of your discharge drains, color-coded and labeled. On the right, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet. That's a 2.5 inch female inlet. Showing now all the compartments in the open position, you can see you have LED lighting and adjustable shelving tracks. As we move down underneath the cab section, you'll find your foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain. As we move to the upper section, when plugged into shore power, your auto charge system will activate, which is what's plugged into that device. Let's move through some of the compartments again. First, starting in the midsection, you'll find 2 SCBA bottle storage locations. As we move down toward the wheel area, you'll find 2 SCBA bottle storage locations here for your bottles and also an oxygen bottle storage location in the upper left-hand corner. The next, at the rear of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage. Also your ultra low sulfur diesel, which is the silver cap. As you move that lever down, it'll expose your 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. That's the blue cap. As we move to the rear, once again, all your compartments open. The very rear section does have a 12-volt access at the very top. You can see here, battery direct, 12 volt. As we move under the rear section, you'll see your perimeter lighting also. In the very center, you do have a center point attachment area. Let's take a look at the rear section of the hose bed cover. You can see OVFR on the back of that hose bed cover. As we move to the center section of the cab, you'll find 2 seats nestled close together. In between those 2 seats is where you're going to find in the forward section your EMS compartments or compartment storage. As you look back to those seats, you'll take a look in between. You'll find a 12-volt access point down in the lower section on the diamond plate. Underneath, you'll find storage locations accessed from the front. And as we look forward again, we'll talk about those compartments. There is netting and also compartment lighting. The compartment lighting, when turned on, it will illuminate red in color inside. In between the two of those rear-facing compartments is where you'll find your access point for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Looking inside, you'll see the yellow is for your engine oil and the red is for your transmission oil. Let's now move to the driver's side. Affixed to all points of entry, you'll find these set of warning labels for firefighter safety. As we look inside the step well area, you'll find an air inlet and also a step light. Moving overhead, just a quick look overhead, you can see the push on and off red and white lights along with your pull strings for your air horn. As we move to the center section, you're going to find this placard regarding the manufactured by Pierce for your department. It has your date of manufacture, the 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, tire inflation, VIN number, and all the fluid capacities for your vehicle. As we look to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your master battery switch at the very top section in silver, diagnostic information for your tech module, engine, transmission, and ABS diagnostic ports in the upper section. You also have ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and also your regen switch, and also display. Moving just up from this location and to the right-hand side of the steering column is where you're going to find your pump shift. This is from road to pump instructions and also from pump to road. Remember, you need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, before exiting the cab for pump operations. Moving up from this location, you're going to find your engine brake switch, an on and off, also setting switch for low, medium, and high for that engine brake. Front wheel lock, a differential lock engaged indicator, and also a mirror heat. You can see that there are indicator lights located in those switch when they've been activated. In the very upper section, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake in yellow, your Allison transmission pad on the right-hand side, digital readout with an indication to pump in. Moving up onto the dash, you're going to find your climate control for heat, defrost, and air conditioning. You'll also find a caution label here regarding disengage your retarder when on wet surfaces, and then always utilize the parking brake. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with your ignition and start switch. Moving to the right, you'll find an EM switch, which stands for Emergency Master, allowing you to engage all of your emergency lights. To the right, you have your headlight switch, and then also a switch labeled panel, which will increase or decrease the lights within the panel area. Let's start on the left-hand side. You'll find your transmission, oil, DEF, and water temp. Located in the center, you're going to find your tachometer and speedometer. On the right-hand side, you're going to find volts, fuel, front and rear air. Digital diagnostic information will display below and also above the RPMs. Located in the steering wheel, you'll also find that you do have a front SRS, which is a supplemental restraint system airbag. Let's move overhead. First, quick glance overhead, you'll find a set of switches. Let's go over those next. First, starting on the left-hand side with the red circle around it, that is your emergency master, controls all of your emergency lights. We have a high beam flash, electronic siren, mechanical siren, and also a siren brake. Moving just to the right of this location, another set of switches, driver's side scene, front flood, passenger side scene, rear scene, momentary opticom, and also your perimeter lighting. Any of those switches activated, you can see on the very far right that the light is illuminating within the switch, indicating that it's on. As we move to the center area, you're going to find your PA speaker system and also your siren control. Just underneath that location is where you'll find a do not move your apparatus if flashing. It's indicating you have a compartment open or a door ajar. At the very top, you'll find your unit radio. Let's move now to the passenger side or officer side in the cab. Once again, affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of your safety warning indications. As we move through, at the very floor, you'll find a mechanical siren foot pedal. You'll also find on the door hinge area the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving up to the top, you'll find you have a 12-volt access point, USB style, on the left-hand side of the officer's area. Directly overhead, you'll find your FireCom control module, and then also the wireless base station for your FireCom system. Looking overhead on the dash area, you're going to find a set of switches. These are going to be your driver's side scene, front floodlights, passenger side scene, rear scene, momentary opticom, and then also a red here is going to be your siren brake. Let's move just to the right where you'll find a unit stereo system, CD player, Sirius radio, and also weatherband radio. As we move to the very top of the front section of the cab, you'll find your forward-facing flood and also a side-facing brow floodlight. As we move to the top in the rear, we're going to find these yellow diamonds, which are reflective, indicating a firefighter walking surface. Moving to the cab, you'll find these two labels here. This is not a walking surface, so we have some labels warning you up there. Moving to the dunnage areas, we're going to find your Husky 3 foam system hydraulic pump, and that's the fill location for that pump. You'll also find your master stream device mounted in the center with top controls. As we move to the ladder rack, you'll find a 24-foot extension, a 14-foot roof, a 10-foot folding, and then also long tool storage on your ladder rack system and water fill location. Congratulations, Orting Valley, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34137. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire Sales Representative. Thank you and congratulations.